what's going on with that. Now to the unboxing, which I'm pretty sure is going to be fairly similar to the other heat guns I've owned. It's just the biggest design change is the digital display, I suppose. Because now it looks like a Star Trek phaser. Admittedly, that looks pretty cool, but we'll see if it holds up. The fan here has the intake housing on the side, which I guess, I don't know if that has any real advantage here. One thing I did enjoy is that because of the lateral slots, dust was less likely to get in. There's actually 2 sets of slots in there, and so you don't want dust getting in and basically burning out the coils. We'll see how this holds up in comparison. So the first thing I'm noticing is that the cord is detachable. That is something I don't think I've ever seen in a heat gun. I don't know what's up with that. Does that mean it's cordless? Do we have a battery in the back of this thing? Is that that might be the design feature here that we're looking for? No, it's not. Does not have currently power. So that would be totally cool if it had like a battery. Ergonomic soft grip hanging loop for storage, I guess. No, that's just a hanging loop. Protective sidebars. The sidebars are really good because of the angle. You don't want to lay it down flat. It was a problem with some of the older models where you laid them down, you just instantly go into whatever material you were putting it on, and heat damage was a thing. Okay, let's pop this baby into some sort of power. The cord in itself attached to the power strip here is actually a bit smaller. Let me pull this one off here. Yeah, they had a 3-prong here, but the new one is only a 2-prong. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's any better, I'll be honest with you. I feel a little better about 2 prongs, but what the hell do I know about these? Here we have the jet controls for the direction of the air jet, but I don't usually use those, and I have a zillion of them anyway. So I imagine they're probably the same exact piece. So let me see, can I just pop this out? Okay, before I get this thing making noise, the digital display is the new feature, and it's got a ton of extra settings. It says it has 117 settings. I think that's just adding 2 or 3 additional heat settings to the other models, and thus you multiply that by some number, and it gives you some crazy larger amount of settings. It's probably not the huge deal. I'm going to turn this on. We're going to explore the settings here. Oh wait, we have a power thing. So we have the fan settings, I suppose, and then the heat settings I'm going to assume are how this works here. So let's do this and this. What is this doing? Oh, okay, that's doing the temperature. Okay, so let's crank that baby up to max. Oh, this is kind of annoying, to go all the way up. And it goes all the way up to 1300, I hope. Cool, that's as high as it goes. And then it automatically pumps the fan up to max. I'm willing to bet that the fan is part of that. So that's the low setting. Medium. Okay. Yeah, it's exactly what I thought, where it's just a multiplicity of the different settings that allows for the additional control, which I like. And I believe this blinking indicator tells you that it's not quite up to heat. You can see that it's not quite up to that temperature. So it lets you know exactly how far along. That is useful. That's very useful, actually. So, yeah. Let me see if it goes the other way around. Yes, it does. Yes, it appears to do that, yeah. It's blinking as I go down, as it cools it off. And I bet you it's turning the fan on in order to do that. Actually, you know, let me turn this fan down just for video purposes. Let's turn that down to the minimum. and it goes all the way down to 120. That is the lowest I think I've seen on a heat gun. The lowest setting on this is 100 or 250. So this is good for your low temperature your low temperature cosplay materials. This is definitely much more suited for your Warbler work. With Warbler, this was kind of something you had to practice the distance with and make sure that you didn't overheat it too quickly. But definitely when you're working with those more sensitive thermal adhesive materials, this low setting is much more useful. Yes, I'm actually pretty happy with that. So assuming that the electronics are reasonably well made and the housing for the coil is protected from dust and the cooling cycle keeps it from burning itself out, this is definitely a much better model as far as control is concerned. I'm going to watch it and see how the longevity goes for this. That's something that can only be kind of tested. Here we have a new nozzle. What is this? So it looks like it's got a spiral jet on it. I guess it keeps the direction of the air focused. That's probably pretty useful. Whereas this one just kind of forces it into a cone, and you get the air in a controlled burst in this general area usually, and it spreads out after that. I'm wondering if this extends the control of the jet into a more longer jet. Rah, 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 rah. Big words. Use all the big words. Can I just hold this? Oh God, thank you. I can just hold this thing down and it brings the temperature up more quickly. Because pushing that button constantly would have been annoying. And that's the thing about getting more options, more control, is that hitting that button and using the controls is much more pain in the ass. Whereas this is just a high or low setting, and then the temperature difference is there across the top with only 6 options. So that's a total of 12 options with a cooling cycle. And this one has allegedly 117. I'm betting that's 1 or 2 of those, to make up for the weird kind of 17 at the end there, is actually the fan settings. So I'm actually going to turn this off. I can't turn the fan off, which is interesting, but you can see it actually cooling down. That's awesome, and you get to know when it's done. And it looks like it's not going to take too long because it actually hasn't been running particularly long. I'm willing to bet that if you've been running this for a good 20 or so minutes on whatever you're working on, that it will take longer. But yeah, the fan is just kicking on to cool down the coil on the inside there. I'm going to have a look at this on the inside to see if it's a staged coil. Now, the way that it did the heating in this is it would have the fans at various speeds, and then it would have segmented coils in the along the ceramic core. And then at different temperatures, it would just bring more of the coils on for more heat. I'm going to basically look down the center of this thing. I don't recommend you do this because of obvious safety reasons, but I'm going to do it because I'm a dummy. So yeah, that's crank. It saved where I was at. So here, this is obviously all the coils are on right now. And let's turn that thing down to say 1,000. See what that does. Come on. Okay, that's close enough. The front, like a few coils on the front are not on. I'd say 1 or 2, but that might not be actually any. We'll see what if that means anything. So let's crank that down to 800. I'm sitting here looking down the barrel of this gun. Okay. No, I think actually that the coils at the front had just not heated up. I can still see the coils at the front of the gun. I have it on low because if I turn on the fan on high, it just is worse for the noise, and also because it would shoot way more air in my face and would be hot. Generally less pleasant. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, I see. Wait, let me crank that up to 800. Maybe crank that back up. Crank that for me. Okay, so when I go up to 800, all the coils cut on. Or yeah, but when I go down to 600, definitely not all the coils are on. Yeah, only a few. I'm gonna go with half-ish. Well, no, maybe 2/3 of the coils are on. At least visibly hot, I should say. So I'm pretty sure that around 600, around 600 it also is gonna, or sorry, around 600 is probably gonna do the same thing. And I'm willing to bet that they're just dropping the voltage on these in order to do the varying temperatures between the different stages. I'm gonna do a bit more poking around off camera to see if it does have staged coils. I don't want to do that too much on camera. I could be wrong. It might just be a voltage thing where it's just one set of coils and they're amping up the voltage to do the various heat settings. If that is the case, I'm not a huge fan of that, because if one breaks, the whole thing breaks. And I've had in the past, when the voltage, when the heat guns are set up in this way, the entirety of the heat gun is stressed, and so if it tends to break and burn out the coils at the back end at this very, very start, where it's going to have the most resistance, or it's going to get hot first anyway, I should say. You guys who know electricity know what I'm saying, even though it's not totally good words. So I'm hoping that's not just a voltage thing, because in all likelihood it's going to burn out near the back end of the core before anything else happens. Whereas with the staged stage coils, they just bring on more power to different parts, and so it doesn't stress out the one at the very beginning as much with the front end voltage, or the voltage of the front end. Damn, that's the worst. That's the worst. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the new model. That's my opinions of it. It's definitely got much more control. As I wait for this thing to stop making noise, I'll put it over there. It definitely has much more control. Am worried about the longevity of the tool itself, based on the coil design. That's a huge thing with heat guns, in my opinion. So we'll see. I'll give you guys updates